Rockstar, FromSoft, Bethesda, Epic Games, Bandai Namco, the titans of the gaming space, the pinnacle of AAA gaming, the true standard of what games are to be today. Now who else can rival these giants in their own respective AAA realms? We have tech companies like Nintendo, Sony, Activision, Blizzard, Microsoft, companies that not only produce their own AAA games, but create their very own tech to run these said games. These tech Goliaths, all competing for our money and attention, and in the race of what company can come out on top, we also have Ubisoft and EA. What do they bring to the table? Well, now, obviously, this video is about Ubisoft. I just wanted to throw EA's name in there because they deserve it. But don't worry, I'll make a video on them soon enough. Today, however, we will be taking a deep dive into the entire Ubisoft brand. The problems of their games, the scandals of their company, the problems in their company as a whole, and the slop factory that somehow turned into gold. In the early parts of Ubisoft's life cycle, business was booming, tapping into all sorts of different genres like Disney licensed games, educational games, sports, racing, Batman games, Star Wars games, and many, many more. Really capitalizing on other IPs from other companies before their own IPs came into fruition. Like the biggest IP to gain notoriety of Ubisoft in their growing years, Rayman. Poor Rayman. Doesn't even have limbs and hasn't had a game since 2013, excluding him as a DLC in Rabid Rabbids, an Apple Arcade game. How Ubisoft utilizes their IP is dreadful. Either overpacking us with game after game of the same game mechanics, leveling system, and overall vibes of the game, i.e. being Assassin's Creed or Far Cry.
Shoot me, I dare you.
Or they have one bad game on a specific IP and they completely abandon the whole game, i.e. The Division or Watch Dogs. Sometimes they completely abandon whole studios, as a matter of fact, as they have closed 2 of their 50 companies they have under their wing. 50 studios all under the say of one company is just insane, considering last year their debt and overall company equity is 2.5 more times than their market cap as of September of 2025. They were in debt $1.2 billion with a B, and that's being generous on the number. In result of their massive debt, they had to sell around half of their company and some major IPs to Tencent, a company who sells gacha games on mobile. But backtracking a bit, before the potential bankruptcy they had to face in previous years, Ubisoft was on top of the gaming sphere, releasing banger after banger.
Before you were injured, it was banger after banger after banger. But since you've returned, it looks to me like it's been burger after burger.
In the early 2000s, it felt like Ubisoft couldn't be stopped, dropping innovative, creative, passion products that had the player in mind. From Far Cry 2 to Far Cry 3, you could see the difference, feel the difference. Game mechanics that actually change the vibe and how you play the game. Putting these 2 games together, you can immediately see the difference and improvements they've made from the predecessor. But let me say, I get in today's age, what really can they do to make the next game so much better looking? But it's not just the looks, it's the feel. Sliding in 3 feels so much smoother from 2. going from just a slash in the back to an actual takedown, and on top of that, being able to throw a knife or shoot the person's gun you just took down using that to kill another enemy, adding so much different gameplay varieties, from more of transportation with the glider in the wingsuit to the more in-depth water gameplay. They were changing it, improving it. Better graphics, better gameplay, better quality of life improvements. The little things that add the cherry on top. Moving on to later installments of the game, outside the cultural differences in the environment, you couldn't be able to tell the two apart. Trying to recall the most recent Far Cries, yes, you have memorable villains like Voss and Gustavo's Fring's character, only saying Gus because I can't pronounce his actual name, or cracked out Shia LaBeouf. But that's the only difference. Even the story is the same. A corrupt higher official that exploits its power amongst the common people. You throw a bit of drugs in there, even have a whole mission dedicated to tripping out. That, of course, was used in the last game and the game before that. They become lazy with their new games as they reuse assets, reuse gameplay mechanics, redone storylines, and while yes, they do have new mechanics like the partners in 5s and that septic tank you have on your back in 6.
You wield a child's backpack.
But you just have to see for yourself just how much the later installments just feel the same compared to old games. And that goes for a lot of games they have in their current library.
Far Cry 6 feels like Ubisoft testing the waters to see just how low effort they can go without people noticing. This is a sad game. This is the kind of game that makes you not want to play video games anymore. Far Cry 6 is so boring that the grapple hooks are boring. For me, the highlight of this entire game was the cutscene where the NPC was driving me in a boat and I was brought safely to another island.
Or was I?
Nice boat. Is it yours?
No, I stole it. Papa taught me how to hotwire tractors when I was a kid.
Now, before I continue, let's review the definition of slop. Slop in the Urban Dictionary: oral sex of the highest caliber, known to make one knees shake. Okay, moving on. A shot in pool that you didn't mean to make because you were aiming for another ball. What the no. A mashing motion, usually occurring between two okay. Maybe if we type slop content, that'll be better. Slop, sludge, brain rot, or slop content refers to shitty, low quality content, e.g. games, videos, clips, that is clearly made to hop and market off new trends, and usually involves the mishmashing of trends together. If it's video content, it's usually brainless and seems to be almost AI generated because of how fucking stupid it can be. Games classified as slop content are usually marketed towards little kids with highly saturated colors, microtransactions, and notable characters from other popular games. Something we see a lot of right now. But how I would define it would be a little different. Slop to me is something that you know is bad, referring back to the actual definition. Knowing it's not the top quality and your choices available to you, but choosing to play the worst quality game anyways. Now this perfectly represents Ubisoft in this day and age, and the whole point of this entire video. I know it's bad, but I can't stop playing it. I'm currently playing through, not every, but most Assassin's Creed games right now. Hell, I'm playing the most criticized Assassin's Creed of when it was released, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, the London one. Now, would I recommend this game to anyone I know? Absolutely not. There's bugs and glitches that take my immersion out the game, dialogue that repeats itself every 5 seconds.
Stiff as a plank. Poor buggers snuffed it. Stiff as a plank.
Trying to race through the streets of London and looking like a place that I can go, only for me to start dry humping the wall. Characters that I could even force myself to care about, even though they're actual real people of our history. Storylines that I'm 80% through, even though I have no clue what they're about because I couldn't get myself to listen and care. Trying to indulge in the lore of this game seems like a chore more than something like to pass my free time. And oh my gosh, the random parts where I just come out of the simulation and I'm just a base level company employee at some giant tech corporation that's in every Assassin's Creed game that I've ever touched. Like, holy shit. Why does Ubisoft think anyone cares about being a person with a 9 to 5 who has to do fucking paperwork? It's like the moronical version of Mary Jane mission in Spider-Man, but 5 times worse. As soon as I see these come up, I'm just spamming the skip button waiting for me to go back to the actual fucking game. Now saying all this, you're probably thinking, yeah, this game does sound pretty mid. How does this have 14 installments under the same name? But that's the thing. That's where the Slop gold comes into play with Ubisoft. These games aren't meant to be a moving story or a motivational piece of our culture, not how they used to be, but they do seem to do just enough to not refund it on your Steam account. Quick interruption, don't they have their own storefront now so they don't have to put their own games on Steam? You shut your brain off and don't expect any innovative gameplay mechanics or story, it's just dumb fun. As much as I'm shitting on these games, I can't seem to hate them. Of course they're no contention when comparing them to modern God of War, the Ghost series, anything that FromSoft puts their tip in. He's pulling his cock out! They're just passable, if that. But that's all it is. Just passable content to meet a quota. Any game they have made in the past 7 years, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Mirage, and Shadows. Again, outside the cultural and environmental differences, it's the same. Far Cry 6, no different than 5, 4, or even 3. Ghost Recon Breakpoint was no more innovative than its first iteration. And of course, the biggest IP they've gotten their hands on in the most recent years, Avatar, Frontiers, and Star Wars Outlaws. They just play like Far Cry. And of course, riddled with bugs on release.
So, Danka, got more work for me?
Maybe. You got an ion blaster? There's always some action to find out here.
Distract him, Nix. Huh? What?
He's too dangerous to be left alive.
Nothing to report.
Starting to see a trend, bugs on top of bugs on top of bugs on top of reused assets on top of repetitive gameplay loops on top of lack of innovation. Take even the Star Wars game. Looking at it in comparison to Jedi Survivor, it's no match. Now, given any game that you compare that does have a lightsaber compared to none to very little amount of lightsaber content will always be a landslide. And Darth Vader, of course. But what is gonna make a casual gamer choose Star Wars Outlaw over Jedi Survivor? What casual gamer is gonna say Assassin's Creed Shadows is better than Ghost of Tsushima? See, these games are selling, but reaching back to earlier in the video, their debt is insane. And with the cost of gaming these days, gamers are becoming more conscious of what they're spending their money on, leaving Ubisoft in the dust of the hypothetical race of AAA games. I know this video is starting to become all over the place, but stay with me here. These games is hanging on a thread of being passable. Assassin's Creed is becoming Ubisoft's Call of Duty with how many releases it has. Far Cry has turned from this gritty, down-to-earth, open-world survival game to the most generic and literal, stereotypical open-world shooter you can see on the market. Anything with a Tom Clancy stamp on it has become the most boring, monotonous looter shooter. Rainbow Six being its whole separate beast, with constant problems that the community speak about all the time. I'm sure you can find a video about everything that goes on within just that game alone. If I talked about it, we'd be here for another 20 minutes. So go check out one of these videos after you're done with this one if you're interested. But everyone has hopes with this new season that I'm sure is out by the time this video is posted, but I'm damn sure that this won't have any major changes on the game. They've tried doing this before, and it completely blew up in their face with Rage 2.0. While in the process of making this video, I actually finished Assassin's Creed Syndicate, cause it takes me a month to make my videos. But let's burn the already dead corpse of Assassin's Creed, shall we? And finish them off in this video. Now, we already ranted in an earlier part of the video, but that was more of a general rant of Assassin's Creed. This one is just about Syndicate. I love the idea of driving carts and vehicle combat in this game, but it doesn't work well in execution. And the boats and trains work the same way, and doesn't really hit the mark for me. Why do we make moving objectives? And this isn't a one-time thing. They have boats, trains, hijackable carts, Now, some of them I get, but don't have me chasing down a main fucking mission. These capture the target side quests can go one of two ways. It being a great stealth experience and things going overall well, or just one mess up, or even an outside factor interfering with anything around the area. The target will without a doubt always run like a little bitch. They reused assets like I said before. Really gets annoying. Like yes, there's gonna be reused animations in any game you play, but playing Assassin's Creed long enough, you begin to see that there's only like 3 animations to everything you do in this game, including, again, yes, the voice lines.
You all work for us.
So many bugs. Even with a game that was criticized initially for having too many on release, even since all their patches, there's still so many that I don't even have to look for them in this video to see how much there is in this game. Why are these bomb crates so hard to control?
Someone's up to no good.
I feel like the map is just way too big. Or rather, the missions are so spread out. I get you want to capture all of the size of London, so I wouldn't change the map size. But I'm consistently having to run over 500-meter sprints to reach the next mission. There are so many characters in this game that are so boring. Why is there microtransactions in a single-player game? XP boost like it's a COD game. Available loot options to buy in-game. They have many games that have this option, by the way. I've heard they've sponged the leveling system out to make it so much more slow to promote buying more of these packs. And the most cardinal sin to ever be in a video game. NPCs that I have to follow that are slower than my run pace, but faster than my walk pace, and bumps into everything in the possible vicinity. Now, I don't want to just be a negative Nancy here. I always want to talk about the good and not just be a downer. There is an exception to the lack of interesting characters, like I said earlier. Pearl Attaway and Clara O'Dea. Clara just because she's a kid with a hard head, tough to hate. And Pearl because the twist that she brings in the story actually makes me perk my ears up whenever the story was going along. And some villains are an easy love to hate situation, with the main guy just being a straight lunatic.
Mr. Starrick.
And his right-hand woman being someone that I never wanted to kill so bad. I really like how I feel like a gang leader at some points, having my crew dealing with small things that I couldn't care to draw my attention towards, or coming to my aid in any time they see me in need, no matter what. The gang fights after clearing the entire areas are something that I haven't really seen in other games, even giving you the chance to kill the area leader in the middle of clearing the town. Changing up how the game fight plays in the end, even though it still gives the same ending animation.
You all work for us.
The child's labor missions are kinda nice. I know they're just your typical save a hostage side quests, but they have a nice little spark to them. I don't know how to explain it. And there was this one time I was playing in a cutscene, and I just, out of curiosity, wanted to see if I could fail it, which I could. So that was kinda cool. Even though I could tell they didn't actually think anyone would fail this, as the animation looks horrible. But out of everything I said, I liked this game enough to finish it. And I found myself enjoying the times where I could actually play the game in a natural flowing manner that makes it feel satisfying, even though those could be far and few between. But that's all I want. To take down a whole camp without a soul seeing me, being able to take down 20 guys with nothing but a cane and a knife in my sleeve, it's a simple itch to scratch. And Ubisoft knows that. They know they have buckets of gold, and they really polished the finish on nicely with the older games. Now they just paint over a jar of shit with their gold and call it a game. Quickly switching gears here, let's look at the single reason I will never pre-order another video game ever again. A game that left me with such a bad taste in my mouth after Ubisoft throat fucked me with this game that I've solidified my opinion that I have here on this company. The single most disappointing video game that I've heard of, let alone played. Skull and Bones. Me and my friends were dying to have a good pirate-themed game that wasn't Sea of Thieves.
Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
So when the trailer for this game dropped, I was electric. It looked so good. All the different ship designs looking amazing, as well as the animations. The naval combat, rival pirates, sea monsters, ghost pirates. This trailer looked like this game had it all, and just how damn good it looks. With the old creators of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Ubisoft at the helm, along with a 3-player co-op system, it seemed like a dream come true for me and my homies, as we were ready to conquer the seas and loot the lands. But then the game came out. And oh boy, was it a very unpleasant surprise. Within the hour minimum long tutorial, I could feel the disappointment crawling up my back, realizing just how bare bones this game was. Not only was it easy feeling how worse this game felt compared to what I remembered the Black Flag ship movement and combat being, but I realized the ship is the only part of the game. Remember the part of the trailer where they were partying it up on land? Yeah, that's the only part of land in the entire map, where you receive missions, upgrades, change cosmetics, and oh yeah, of fucking course, a whole area for microtransactions. My dreams were crushed. The ship combat being as fun as taking a potato out of a pit of boiling water and throwing it at my wall, just looking down at my hands and regretting my actions. I paid $100 for this, the full package, and I don't even have a full hour devoted to the actual game. I thought about re-downloading the game for B-roll clips for this, but every time I see this speck of trash in my game library, I get a wave of regret wash over me. Not only for me, but my friends, to which I told them to do the same and pre-order it. Ubisoft told us this was the first ever quadruple A video game. I couldn't think of a bigger lie I've ever heard in my life. With the trailer that was fully cinematic, everything in this game looked worse. Nothing from that trailer was real. With promises to deliver us a new and improved Black Flag, we ended up with a game that I could find on itch.io. With what this game did to the reputation of this company, now all my homies hate Ubisoft. Ubisoft, I try my hardest to like you. I really do. As much shit as I talk about Assassin's Creed, I want a tattoo about it in the near future. As much criticism as I threw at Far Cry, I still remember it as one of the best games I played when I was a kid, being Far Cry 3. Even when I made a video about 6, don't watch it, it's horrible, I had just enough of a good time to where, again, I just had mindless fun over it. Ubisoft itself is a mindless company, however. With all the things that I've already mentioned, to the debt, to the selling your company to an even more shady company, to making your own game storefront to try to get more profit, to try making a solo player game feel like a live service, including microtransactions, to the entirety of Skull and Bones. Seriously, fuck that game. To the most deplorable, disgusting, and despicable acts I've seen from higher company officials. Warning, this is a very big tone switch from the rest of the video, and we're going to be talking about some very gross topics, including sexual assault. I didn't know where to put this in the video, or even if I wanted to talk about this at all, but when you're going in on a company about all their wrongdoings, you can't ignore something like this. In 2020, Ubisoft launched an internal inquiry after anonymous testimonies emerged on social media accusing the company of a toxic work culture. One of the accused, Serge Hasoket, I'm definitely butchering every single name that's included on here, resigned from his post as chief creative officer. The other two, Thomas, I'ma just say Francis, vice president of editorial and creative services, and game director, Gualmin Patrux, that was the worst one yet, were dismissed for serious misconduct. All three denied any allegations. But leaving the quite large position you're in such a huge company kinda tells you all you need to know. Francis is the focus of the most damning claims of the systematic psychological and sexual harassment at the company offices. Between January 2012 and July 2020, Francis is alleged to have often watched pornographic films in the open plan office and commented on the appearance of female employees. Francis was also accused of forcing a young employee he had just hired to do a headstand in the open plan office while wearing a skirt. He is also accused of tying the same woman to a chair and putting her in an elevator, sending her to another floor. He also allegedly forced her to attend a work meeting after he painted her face with a felt tip pen. In addition to the accusations of sexual and psychological harassment, Francis is being prosecuted for an attempt of sexual assault when he tried to forcibly kiss a young employee during a Christmas party as she was held by other colleagues. According to an investigative report seen by Agent France Press, Francis encouraged his subordinates to act in the same way. Ahsoka is accused of lewd behavior and posing intrusive questions of sexual nature, as well as racist comments and behavior. Following deadly attacks in Paris in 2015, he allegedly asked a Muslim employee if she agreed with the ideas of the Islamic State group. The woman had her computer desktop background changed to images of bacon sandwiches and food was placed on her desk during the Islamic fasting month of Ramadan. The third defendant, former game director Pat Trooks, has been accused of psychological harassment. Investigators spoke to dozens of witnesses during the probe, but many refused to file a complaint for fear of reactions from the video game community, according to reports seen by the AFP. Most of this came from lemon.fr, published on June 2nd, 2025. I tried to find the author of the article, but I couldn't find it on the page. Again, a pretty big switch up in tone from earlier in the video, so I'm sorry about that. But again, I feel like I needed to talk about that. Ubisoft has without a doubt fallen from its peer. What once was amongst the giants of AAA, up there with Rockstar, Sony, and Bandy, has now become the perfect piece of slop in its entirety. Not just the games, but the people that run it too. Their objective isn't to make the next Far Cry 3, the next Assassin's Creed Black Flag. They're never gonna make another Prince of Persia or Rayman Legends. All they want is to profit with as little obstacles as possible, including the game developers they employ, to the entire studios they might reside in. They don't even care about us, the customer. They just care about our wallets now. Really a sad sight to see. Coming from a used to be Giga fan of this company, now I can't stand anything that comes from Ubisoft. And don't get me wrong, I don't want it to be this way. I don't want to get on here and talk about a used to be favorite company of mine. I know it's not the devs' fault on why these games come out the way they do. Uninspired, unfinished, buggy. It's just to make deadlines that higher ups so strictly make to please their investors. And that's not how a gaming company should be run at all. The hope is thin and fleeting more and more every day. But maybe Ubisoft will somehow make the comeback that I know it can. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I think I covered pretty much everything I wanted to, even though I undoubtedly probably missed a few things here and there. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here, for choosing my video to be your entertainment for the time. I can't thank you enough. Let me know if you're trying to see more of these type of videos, as I have a lot to say in other companies. And thank you so much for being here again, and have a good night.
Legends never die, we've been going every night. I've been feeling way too blessed, but with Lex I'm never stressed. They don't know just what we do, we've been out here with the crew. They don't know just how we live, think we got too much to give. I've been going in and going in.